Fucking hell. You scared me. Yeah, Speak No Evil. Film. Now, fucking a friend of mine recommended this. Salute.
Dear Louise, Björn, and Agnes, how are you? We were just
It is about a family that go on holiday. They meet this couple. They strike up a rapport. The family then invite them to go and stay with them in their house in the middle of nowhere. They have a daughter with them. The other family have a son who has no tongue, apparently, which he was born with. And things start to go slightly awry, as they generally do in horror films. So that's the premise. That's the premise. This family are very odd. I'll tell you. I'll just tell you what happens. All right. I'll tell you what happens. This dad character gets more and more overbearing. The mother starts trying to mother the other woman's daughter, just overstepping so many boundaries and being really inappropriate. She's a vegetarian, and they're trying to give her meat, and at one point she even eats the meat. And then what happens is they realize that they basically this is grim, all right? The son that they have is not their son, the son who has no tongue. They cut the tongue off him, and it's something that they do with all children. Because that's what they do. They're abductors. They kill the parents who come to stay with them. They take the kid. They kill the old kid, and then the new kid, they cut their tongue out as well. So they just kind of have a conveyor belt of kids that they abduct, and the parents just get offed and thrown into this quarry, and they just throw rocks at the parents until they die. So that's it in a nutshell. It's very funny. It's very fucking grim. It's really grim. Obviously, I enjoyed it. I didn't hate it, but I also, there are a lot of problems with it. And with films like this, I find if you get a few moments with the plot where you can kind of go, like, the first thing that comes up and you go, oh, that's not really what I would have done, but okay. You know, then the second time you're like, oh, come on, no. And then the third time you're like, oh, fuck this, no, I can't. There were too many moments like that where, for example, the good, let's call her the good mother. The good mother is a vegetarian, and she's there with the hosts, and she's saying we know that she's a vegetarian. She's told the host before that she's a vegetarian, and they go, and the guy, the bad dad, we'll call him, bad dad, is cooking this kind of leg of this joint of meat, whatever it is, and he's like, oh, try some. And instead of going, that's like the first kind of tip into this sort of power struggle, that him sort of dominating these poor people. You would just go, no thanks, I'm vegetarian, but it's okay, I can just eat whatever else is. But she doesn't. It's like there's this moment where she's like, oh, okay. And her husband's like, it's okay, just have a little bit. She's like, okay. And at that point, that's about 20 minutes into the film. And out loud, I was going, oh, what? Why? Just why? It just seems so unnecessary. And that's the kind of beginning of this kind of unraveling. There was another moment where, oh, yeah. I mean, it kind of, there's so many moments. Oh, yeah, that was the other one. They're the bad couple say, right, we're going out tonight. We're going to go for a meal. And the good parents are like, oh, okay, great. And then it gets to the evening, and this random guy shows up at the front door. They're all getting ready. They're putting their coats on. The bad mum and dad are like, come on, let's go. And the good daughter is there with the son with no tongue. And they're like, oh no, well, we've got a babysitter for them. And the mum is already, not sure anyway. She's not having a great time. And she just leaves. She just leaves the kids there. She leaves her daughter there with this random guy. That's the second strike. And at that point, I'm like, what? I just don't think you would. I don't think you would. And that's not even from I know this is a horror film, so I know something bad is going to happen. So why not even in that sense, just in the sense that she doesn't know these people. She doesn't know this guy. Just fucking assert yourself. That's the thing that I kept coming back to. Just assert yourself. Say no. So that was the second strike. She leaves the kid. The kids are fine. They come back, but the bad dad is pissed up and drives them home drunk. That's the other thing. You say, I'm not getting in a car with you, mate. You're pissed. We'll get a taxi. Oh, no, it's fine. No, we're getting a taxi. I'm getting stressed just talking about it. Then what else? Oh, yeah. She eventually decides to leave. The mother says to the husband's fucking useless, by the way. He's just, they all play it very well. It's very well acted. All right, I'm not slagging off the actors. It was more about the direction, I think. And the script wasn't bad. It was very well shot, and it looked and felt like a stylish horror film. So I'm not saying don't watch it, although you don't really need to now because I've spoiled it all for you. Yeah, so the mum character's like, fuck this, I want to go now. Let's go now. Like in the early hours of the morning before they wake up. And the dad's like, yeah, okay, we've only got one more day here, so. But she's like, nah, I've had enough, mate. Let's go now. They get in the car and they start driving away. They're off. That's them done, scot-free. Obviously, there'd be no film. I recognise that. I've just realised that. If they did do any of these things that I'm suggesting, there would be no film, and this would not be happening right now. But they start driving away. The kid's like, oh, I've left my rabbit there. I can't find my rabbit. And then the mum's like, well, your rabbit's gone now. It's staying with them. It's got a new home now, a new family. It's going to be fine. And she's like, nah, I want my rabbit, mate. And the dad's like, nah, mate, nah, we're leaving. And the daughter keeps going on and crying and crying and crying. And the dad eventually turns the car around. And at that point, I just went, well, you fucking deserve what you get, guys. You deserve what you get. So they go back. The dad gets out of the car. Oh, no. Yeah, the dad gets out of the car. Then the daughter realises, oh, my rabbit's here. It's on the floor. She finds the rabbit. And the mum's like, for fuck's sake, right, let me go and get your dad. You stay here in the car on your own. No. Why? Take the daughter with you. But no, she just leaves the daughter in the car on her own, middle of nowhere. Mum goes into the car after the dad, and then the dad's sort of having a conversation with the bad dad, and everything's getting, they air all of their grievances. It's very uncomfortable, but, they get all the differences out. The bad couple are very apologetic, and they go, let's forget about all this. Let's stay. Let's just stay. So that's kind of the beginning of the very, very end. So there's so many opportunities they could have left. So many opportunities. And not one of them so far has been because of what the bad couple have done. That was my problem with it. And I'll come back around to that. But yeah, they decide to stay. Everything kicks off again. The dad discovers that the boy is just dead in the swimming pool in the middle of the night. He's dead in the middle of the swimming pool. He then says to the mum and daughter, come on, get up, we're going. He doesn't tell them that he's just seen the dead boy, and maybe because he doesn't want to scare them, I don't know. But they leave again in the middle of the night. The car runs out of petrol, not the bad couple have cut the brakes or something like that. There's been no kind of calculative plot from their point of view. They're just having bad luck and they're making very bad choices and they're not fucking asserting themselves so far. Car breaks down. The bad couple get in. Babysitter comes back with some scissors. They cut the daughter's tongue off, which is obviously fucking horrific. So the mum is in the back of the car. The woman holds the daughter down. The babysitter comes in the back seat. The bad dad and the good dad are in the front of the car while this is happening. There's a bit of a struggle, but nothing. I mean, it happens anyway. The daughter gets dragged away by the babysitter in the middle of nowhere. They're left in the car. The mum is just kind of there, numb, and the dad is very much the same. And at that point, I was very much like, well, you fucking deserve everything you get now. Because what kind of mother just sits there? I know the way she was, the actors did a very good job of just trying to play the circumstances or the direction as best as they could. So it wasn't like the actors didn't know what they were doing. I could see what the actors were playing, and that is that kind of frozen in fear, kind of inert, just numb, frozen, in shock. But at some point, you kind of go, when do your animal instincts kick in? And the mother, that point where, she'd just seen her daughter's tongue get cut out, you'd be enraged, you'd be out of your own body, you would just, I don't care what you do, like eye gouging, whatever, biting. So I wanted to see some of that. And then see the bad couple kind of react to it and subdue her or drug her. The dad, again, just for useless. So I was chatting to my friend about it because she recommended it to me. And so after that point, they get stripped of their clothes. They get told to stand in the middle of this quarry, and the bad couple just throw rocks at them until they die. And then it repeats. The process repeats itself. You see the couple back at this holiday home, looking for their next victims. So it's a very happy ending for all involved. So yeah, I was saying to my friend that the main problem I had with it is, at some point when this dad finds the boy in the pool, so the boy's dead, he also finds this attic room with all of these pictures on the walls, kind of like trophies, I suppose, of all the kids that they've had before. And there's about 100 photos on the wall. And I just thought, right, here's my main problem. And it's with the writing. It's not with the direction, I suppose. It's kind of a little bit of the direction. Because the director could have gone, look, this doesn't work. She wouldn't. And the actor probably said this as well, the woman playing the mother. Why does she not do this? Why does she not do that? And the director probably had to go, look, just play it like she's in shock. And that's what she did. But I wanted to see more cunning from the bad couple. If they've done it so many times, they would surely have like a system, not this sort of just, we'll act like a pair of dickheads until they feel awkward enough to just let us take their kid. Where's the ingenuity? Where's the do you know what I mean? Where's the cunning? There was none of that. I just wanted a bit more of that. So I couldn't. Whilst it was horrific, and it was I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the horror elements of it. And it did have that very claustrophobic kind of really insidious feel of, this kind of home invasion thing. Or no, it's not really a home invasion, is it? But, just kind of feeling the walls closing in on this couple and the unraveling and those little subtle movements into something very untoward. But I couldn't invest in the... Like, they could just leave. They could have left so many times. And it doesn't have to be anything too, genius, really. Just like the car's broken down. The car's fucked. They physically can't leave. So the couple could have done that. So it's got problems. It's got some problems. So what am I doing here? Not that. No. Yeah, that's what I wanted. It's got its issues. So if you want to watch it now, go and watch it. But if you don't, I understand, because I've just ruined it for you. What it kind of brought up, though, was this this notion of despair in horror films. And a friend of mine mentioned the film Martyrs when she recommended it to me. She said it's bleak. She didn't compare it to Martyrs, but she just said it kind of leaves you with that same feeling of despair, in a sense. And so that's what drew me to it. I was like, oh, well, Martyrs is one of my favourite films. This one. And it doesn't compare to that. I'll just read you the blurb of Martyrs. A young woman's quest for revenge against the people who kidnapped and tormented her as a child leads her and a friend, who is also a victim of child abuse, on a terrifying journey into a living hell of depravity. Speak No Evil does leave you feeling very bad and dead inside. But it's for the reason that it's just seeing an awful thing happen. And I think it's got something to do with how the antagonist works. The function of the antagonist. The function of the antagonist in Speak No Evil, we don't really understand them. They don't really seem that clever. There's a lot of things that are left up to chance. And there's nothing really driving that need from the antagonist, other than that we know of, other than they like killing kids. Martyrs, however, where's my pop-up gone? Pop-ups. Where's my pop-up gone? Excuse me. Where's it gone? I'll have to do it again. Bear with me. Alert. Horror films. Spoilers.
Sweet berry wine!
Thank you. Oh, I've misspelt it. Fuck it. Doesn't matter. The drive of the antagonist in Martyrs, basically, we find out towards the end of this woman goes to this house for revenge on this family who locked her up when she was younger and basically tortured her. She managed to escape. So she comes back for this family. She blows them all away. And then towards the end of there's loads of other stuff that happened, but towards like the kind of third act of the film, she discovers a basement, goes down into this basement, and she's basically held captive there. And the point I'm trying to make is that there's a tip-off point. There's a tipping point from when a horror film instills this kind of despair and just feeling awful. And Martyrs, for me, tips into more of it's like an existential despair. And it's because of the antagonist. The reason that they're kind of torturing these people is that they want to see, and this is the big spoiler, so if you want to watch it, just kind of skip ahead. but they want to see what there's in the film. They make this theory that there's a point between life and death where you see what's on the other side, and you kind of leave your body, but you're still lucid and you can still communicate. So they want to know what happens on the other side. They're trying to uncover this secret, and that's the whole crux of all of that. So it makes sense what they're doing. You obviously don't you don't go, oh, I'm on board with this then. Oh, I'm all for the antagonist now doing all this. But it just positions the film into a broader spectrum of human existence. And the last scene of the film is the kind of ringleader of this cult who torture people to try and figure out what goes on the afterlife. The main character sees it. We don't see what she sees, but she tells the woman what she sees, and then the woman is left to kind of share this with the rest of the cult. There's a huge gathering at the end of the film. They're all waiting there expectantly for this woman to share what she's learned, and a guy comes up and explains to everyone, like, we've had communication with the other side and blah 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 blah, and we don't know yet, but we are going to find out. It's built up and built up and built up, and the woman is in the bathroom getting ready, and she basically shoots herself, so she dies with that secret. So it brings up this question of, if you could know what happens on the afterlife or on the other side, would you want to know? Would it give your life purpose, or is it better not knowing? And it doesn't answer the question. So that's why it's one of my favourite films, and that's why I think Speak No Evil is okay as a horror film. And there are many other horror films like that, which I could mention, but I think those two are a good sort of, they make that point fairly well as to how important the antagonist is, and the justification and the process of the antagonist. It's not just, there are films that do have just mindless sort of gore and violence, and there's a place for that kind of horror. But then I really enjoy films that just they make you think a little bit, don't they? They make you think. And anyone will tell you about me is that I love to think. Ask anyone. It's kind of my MO, thinking. Someone will say, you're the Adam guy. Yeah, big thinker. Yes, Adam. That's me. That's just what I do. It's just what I do. So, Speak No Evil. Give it a watch if you like. Martyrs, though. I mean, I've told you what happens now, haven't I? I should maybe stop spoiling it for people, because that's a hell of an ending, Martyrs, when you realise what it's all been for. Oof. Oh, it makes your bollocks tingle. Right. Any other things that I wanted to mention? Oh yeah, a couple of other mentions, films that I've watched. Barbarian, enjoyed, and Watcher. Stylish kind of horror, psychological thriller. Watcher seemed very stylish, very minimal plot, but very well acted and very atmospheric. Looked very cool, enjoyable to watch, but kind of a little bit underwhelming, if I'm going to be honest, in terms of the plot, but very well executed in every way. Barbarian, I think, is my film of the week. I'm going to come up with a little jingle for that. Barbarian. This is Barbarian. Again, very stylish, very well acted, unpredictable, with some great twists. That, again, right, so the opening of this, I'll just tell you the opening of this, I'm not going to spoil anything. The premise, from the producer of it, The premise is that a young woman rocks up to this kind of derelict neighborhood to an Airbnb where she's supposed to be staying for the night. She's got a work thing in the morning, and she gets there, and basically there's another guy there. There's been a double booking. So she ends up staying there with this guy. Now that might sound very like, who the fuck would do that? But I promise you, and you know, you can come back here and say, Adam, I watched it and you were talking shit, but I promise you that opening is so well observed. Every point you're like, oh well, oh no, she is going to do that. Good. She's not an idiot. Basically, she kind of runs through this this logical mental checklist of things you would do and other avenues you would consider before you end up staying in an apartment with a complete stranger. So the writer, I think, is very astute and very ahead of the curve. And there were a few things that happened towards the end of it. I was like, oh, that's kind of like popcorn logic. But everything up until that point, Justin Long is in it. The guy who was in It, forget his name now, Bill Skarsgård, and then the actress's name, I forget her name now, or the actor's name, I should say. Very well cast, very well observed, very well written. Fun, just an all-round fun romp. So yeah, Barbarian, that's my movie of the week.
Oh, you're gonna have a good time. Sweet berry wine.
Yeah.